Hi, I'm Erin. I made this book, and I'm here to tell you about 10 things you have in your house right now that you can use to mend your clothes. Number 1, a match or a toothpick. I use these for sewing on buttons. I place them in between the button and the fabric while I'm stitching, and it creates the perfect gap that makes the clothes easier to button and unbutton later. Number 2, I love using underpants for patches. You can use the boxers or you can use the stretchy kind. Use whatever you have. You don't need to buy new fabric. And if you're patching jeans, you can use pieces of old jeans. If I'm stitching patches and I want to hold them in place temporarily, I often use glue stick. If you use a light touch, it'll come out in the wash, so it's temporary. If I want to make nice pressed seams on the edges of the patches, I'll use a chopstick to hold it down while I iron it to keep from burning my fingers. But if you don't have an iron, and you don't want to borrow one right now, you can use your fingers. There's a technique known as finger pressing. It's actually a thing. And you just hold the fabric down, firmly hold it in place for a couple seconds, or you can use your fingernail to kind of scrape it and help it along. I love using safety pins. They're my favorite. I prefer them to fancy fabric pins because you don't accidentally stick your fingers when you're stitching. They're also great for marking holes in clothes you need to mend. I use oranges, mandarins, other citrus, use what you have. I use these to darn socks. They replicate the shape of a heel or a toe, so you get a nice curved darn that's much more professional look. You can use tea bag string to darn tea towels, believe it or not, it's perfect. And I usually use beeswax to coat my thread to prevent knots and tangles, but if you're stuck in quarantine and you don't have any, you can use soap or candle wax. And for my last tip, if you are stuck in quarantine and you have a needle but you don't have any thread, you can use your hair. It's perfect and it's actually nearly invisible. Happy self-isolation!